Good evening, Ayusha. Good evening, Vishwas. So, we was doing a chapter on balance of payment and foreign exchange. Good evening, Venkat, Nikki. Good evening. And in last class, I was explaining about foreign exchange, how the foreign exchange is determined. So, in this regard, in the last class, uh, I told you initially India was using India, in fact, not only India, entire world was using gold exchange rate system, right? And this was replaced by Bretton Wood Bretton Woods system. Good evening, Chetan, Abhishek, Deepthi, Nikki, Venkat, Vishwas, Ayusha, everyone. Good evening. So, gold exchange rate was replaced by Bretton Woods system, and under the Bretton Woods system, gold was gold was fixed with US dollar, right? US dollar. It was fixed with the US dollar. However, the system was collapsed in 1971. Right. Richard Nixon, the present president of United States of America at that point of time, he said that we are not going to follow this system. Right. And after that, market determined exchange rate system was opted. Right. So I was explaining about the international situation, what happened at the international level. Okay, I have not taken the case of India, right? So once you will understand the case at international level, it is going to be quite easier for you to understand the Indian case, right? So first I'm explaining the international case. So while explaining the international case, I told you in the last class that market determined exchange rate is going to be was applicable after 1971. That is the collapse of Bretton Woods system, right? However, in between means from 71 to 73, from 71 to 1973, for this short phase of time, for these 2 years, one agreement was happened between US and some European countries, and this agreement is known as Smithsonian Agreement. Right, but agreement didn't lasted for more than 1.5 year or 2 years, so that's why it's not very important to know what happened. But for a just brief time, means for 1.5 year, this agreement was happened between US and some European country, and the crux of that agreement was they have fixed, for example, dollar and pound. The value of dollar and pound was fixed. Dollar and pound value was fixed, and that is going to be not changed for at least 2 years. Right. So they went for an agreement that we are going to fix the dollar and pound. For example, just an example, 1 pound is equal to 1.5 dollar. So such kind of the arrangement was happened between US and some European countries. However, this arrangement didn't lasted for a long time, and in 1973 this arrangement starts collapsing, and finally in 1975 this arrangement was entirely collapsed. Arrangement was entirely collapsed. So to understand the international exchange rate system, this point is not very important, but I'll let you know why this means why I am telling you, because You can ask, "Ki, sir, if it is not important, why you are telling us?" Right. So I am telling you because it's having some relevance with respect to India's case. This is related to some India's case. So when I will discuss the India's case, this information is going to help you to understand the India's exchange rate system, how it's work. Right. So by 1975, most of the countries shifted the exchange rate system to market determined exchange rate system. First, try to understand what is market determined exchange rate system. Though I explained you many things about the market determined thing in the last class, but I also told you कि I know that कि I have to tell you again because maybe you are going to miss or slip few things, right? So when we say the market determined for anything, when we say market determined, sometimes the word is also used as market force. Market force or market determined. So what do you mean by market determined? Market determined means anything, the price of anything is going to determine by its demand and supply. So when the price of any good is completely depend upon what is the market demand and what is the market supply. For example, especially in the northern India part, for 9 days of Mata Rani's Navratri, right? So people generally give up the non-vegetarian food, and even many people will go for the fasting. And during that phase, the consumption or the demand of non-vegetarian food is going down, right? So that is why in the wholesale market the price will down, whereas at the same time the price of fruits and all things which can be consumed, kuttu kata, right, all these kind of the things, the price is going to be a little bit higher, right? So that is based on market demand and force, simple, right? The best example of market determined price or market determined plus manipulated prices, what that is the price of vegetable in India. In the different part of, I mean, any part of India you can find the prices, they are basically market determined, fine. But how this market determined rate works in the economics, I tried to explain you with the law of demand and law of supply. In the last class I told you law of demand means price is inversely proportional to demand if other variables are constant, and law of supply means price is directly proportional to supply. Here other variables are constant, and here also other variables are constant, right? So for law of demand, I told you the curve is going to be down sloping curve, and for law of supply curve will be upward sloping curve. This is I already explained. So this is price, supply, price, and demand, right? Abhishek, Chetan, Rahul Sinha, Jyoti Singh, Vikulp, good evening everyone. Vishwash Arya, people start eating aloo chips din mein. Okay, so okay, fine. So how the price of foreign currency is determined. I'm taking the case of what? I'm taking the case of US dollar against Indian rupee, right? So as per the law of demand, what happened? Price, and here we are going to take demand and supply, right? So the as per law of demand curve is down sloping, whereas supply curve is upward sloping. Supply curve is going to have an upward slope. This is supply curve and this is demand curve. So as the price of US dollar is going to rise, demand is going to decrease, right? Whereas the supply is going to increase, right? So this is the point. This is the point known as equilibrium price, right? Equilibrium price. Okay, fine. So suppose demand, Zoom session timing, sir, supply, item price. अभी समझो इसे. Just try to understand this. See, I told you what happened in the law of demand. I told you in the law of demand, this is demand curve, price and demand. So this is demand curve at particular point, at particular level of income. At particular level of income, this is the demand curve. If income increases, or here, because here we are taking what? Here we are taking the case of exchange rate market, right? So here this demand curve is showing at a particular income, means the India's capacity to demand a dollar. Why we will demand the dollar? For the imports. For imports, we need a dollar, right? For imports or for investments, we need a dollar. Fine. So the dollar is required for the our imports requirement. So suppose that here this is the level of income of Indians, right? And at particular income I1, this is the demand curve. Now income is increased. Income is increased. So if the income is increased from I1 to I2, the capacity of Indians to purchase more dollar, the capacity of Indians to purchase more dollar, in the sense what? The capacity of Indian to purchase more imported goods. Earlier the income was I1, so we are able to purchase only A1 amount of imported goods. Now our income is increased. If our income is increased, so definitely our capacity to purchase imported goods is A2. Definitely A2 will be also higher than A1. So if our capacity to purchase import goods is going to increase, that means in order to import, we need more dollar. So on the same income, it was this demand curve, but income is increased, so demand curve will also shift upwards. Why it will shift upwards? Because, for example, earlier this was the income. Earlier the income was I1, and at the income of I1 we was able to demand this quantity of DX good and the price at PX. Price was PX and demand is DX at this point when the income is I1. Now our income is increased. So on the same price, income is increased from I1 to I2. So on the same price, we are able to purchase more number of goods, right? So that is why the demand curve is shifted right side. Demand curve shifted right side, and this is the new demand curve, right? This is the new demand curve. Is it clear about why demand curve was shifted? Why I have shifted the demand curve in the right direction? I have shifted the demand curve in the right direction, right? This is the new demand curve, that is DI2. Income is I2. Income is I2. Arey bhai, please try to understand what I am explaining it right now. Why you people are jumping? I told you कि first understand the concept, then automatically you are able to understand. You can ask these questions later on. Once I will explain this thing, then you can ask this question. This is the kind of thing you must first understand, then apply your understanding, whatever the questions you have in your mind. And if you are not able to answer even the concept you have learned, then ask me. Right? So without understanding, if you are trying to ask, if I will explain, you are not able to understand. Right? So first understand what I am trying to explain you. Right? Okay. So whatever if I am going to explain, you are not able to understand. So please try to understand what I'm explaining here. Rather than asking the question, focus on what I'm explaining. Have you got this? Ki why this demand curve is shifted in the right direction? If you have any doubt, please ask me. Anyone have a doubt who is in the live class? Anyone have a doubt? Please ask me. I will explain again. But if you got this thing, then similarly, if income is going to what? If income is going to decrease, if income is going to what? If income is going to decreased, I3 is the decreased income. This curve is showing income I1. This curve is showing income I2. And now income is decreased. So when the income is decreased, our capacity to purchase the goods, our capacity to purchase the goods and our capacity to purchase the imported goods is also going to what? Also going to decrease. Fine. So in that case, this demand curve will shift. This demand curve will shift in the right direction or left direction. I will come, Jyoti, I will come to the price question. I will explain the price point. I will explain. But first, do you understood why this demand curve shifted in the right direction? Now the demand curve will shift in the left direction. Left direction, why left direction? It will shift in the left direction. Demand curve will shift, now it will shift in the left direction. Why left direction? Suppose that this is our demand. This is our demand. Demand is what? Demand is, suppose that dx and price is px. So at the price px, our capacity to demand is dx, right? So we are able to purchase this amount of goods, fine, at price px. So income is increased. So definitely when the income is increased, so our capacity to purchase the same good is going to increase, right? So this is why when the income increased, this demand curve shifted in the right direction. Why? Because now on the same price, because we have more income, so we can order more goods from dx to dx dash. So is the increase. This is an increase in the demand. This is an increase in the demand because our income is increased. So that is why this demand curve was shifted in the right direction, right? Similarly, if our income is going to decrease, our capacity to purchase the good at the same price, because income is decreased, so it is going to be dy. So new curve is going to be somewhere having this point here. So in the case of decrease in the income, demand curve will shift in the left direction. Like this. So this demand curve is reflecting decrease in the demand due to decrease in the income. Right? So demand curve shifted in this direction. Right? So till then now, I told you income is changing, and due to change in the income, demand curve is shifting in the right direction or the left direction. Right? Right direction or the left direction. When income is increasing, demand curve is shifting in the right direction. When income is decreasing, demand curve is shifting in the left direction in this way. Right? However, till then now, supplies remain constant. Supply of US dollar is remain constant. So if the supplies remain constant, okay, supplies remain constant, and first at I1 income, this was the price of dollar. This was the price of dollar when the income was I1. Why this was the price? Because demand and supply curve are intersecting at this price. So that is why we called it as an equilibrium price. So this was the equilibrium price. But what happened? Income increased. So that's why the demand of the dollar is increased. So new demand curve is here. So this is the new equilibrium price. Earlier equilibrium price was Px. This is the price Px, the equilibrium price, right? But now because income is increased, demand is increased, no change in the supply. Demand is increased, no change in the supply. So that's why this is new equilibrium price. So how we can say this thing rather than over the graph? So listen me very carefully. If in the international market, if in the international currency market, the demand of dollar is going to increase. Demand of the dollar is going to increase, but the supply of US dollar is going to be remain constant. Demand is increased, but supply of the US dollar is remain constant. There is no change in the supply, either increase or decrease. Then what will happen? Then the price of US dollar is going to increase. Okay, the price of US dollar is going to increase. Similarly, if in the international market the demand of dollar is going to decrease, demand of dollar is going to decrease, then what will happen? If the demand of dollar is going to decrease, supply is going to be remain constant, its price is going to be what? Decrease. So this was PY price and this is price PZ. So supplies till then now remain constant. Supply is remaining constant, demand is increasing and decreasing. So in this case, what will happen? In this case was what will happen? First, if the demand is going to increase, price will also increase. But if the demand is going to decrease, price of US dollar is going to decrease. Is it clear? Is it clear? Till then now what I explained you, is it clear? Okay. So till then now, what we understood is if the supply of US dollar is going to be remain constant and there is any increase in the demand of US dollar, then its price is going to increase against Indian rupee. against Indian rupee, the price of US dollar is going to increase. When when the demand is what? Demand is increased, but supplies remain constant. Right? Say similarly, if supplies remain constant, but demand of US dollar is going to decrease, right? Then the price of US dollar is also going to decrease. Fine. Now, suppose that this is the situation. The demand of US dollar, the demand of US dollar is increased. Okay. And earlier, $1 was costing around 75 rupees. Okay, $1 was costing around 75 rupees, but because demand is increased and now it is, suppose that 78 rupees. It is 78 rupees. Fine, it is 78 rupees, but government and RBI want it to 75. Why they want it to 75, we will discuss it later. Just try to understand now, because of the increased demand of what? Increased demand of US dollar. Okay, the increased demand of US dollar causes 1 rupee is going to 78. Earlier it was 75, now it is 78. So when, because of this exchange rate pressure, because of this exchange rate pressure, the value of your currency, because of the exchange rate pressure, if the value of your currency is going to decrease, we will call it as a depreciation. We called it as a depreciation, right? We called it as a depreciation. When we called it as a depreciation, when the value of your currency is going to decrease, right? Decrease under the market like situation, right? So under the market like situation, what happened? 75 rupees is the value of $1 earlier, but now it is 78. But now RBI and GOI, RBI and GOI want back it to 75. So how we can do that thing? Either we can try to decrease the demand or increase the supply. Either we can decrease the demand. Either we can decrease the demand from DI2 to DI1, then again the price will be same. But if we want, what we want to make the price is 75 without any change in the demand. See, we want 75 rupees, and for that 75 rupees we have to decrease the demand, but we do not want to decrease the demand. Then only option is what? The only option is to increase the supply. So increase the supply, right? Increase the supply of dollar, right? So just for making your understanding more clear, at this price level, PN, supply of dollar was SN. Okay, at price PN, supply of dollar was SN, and we want to increase the supply. So when supply is going to increase, the supply curve will move in the left direction or right direction. Supply at PN price is SN. Okay, price PN, supply is SN. Now we want to increase the supply. So if we will increase the supply, the curve of supply is going to shift in the left direction or right direction. Venkat is saying left direction. So let's first draw left direction. So if we will draw the left direction, what will happen? Supplies remain same, price is increased. So is there any increase in the supply? No, there is no increase. But if we will shift the curve in the right direction, what will happen? At the same price, we are able to see, at the same price, we are able to see more supply, right? So, what will happen if we want to increase the supply? We want to increase the supply of US dollar. We have increased the supply and the curve is shifted in which direction? Curve is shifted right direction. Is it clear why the curve is shifted in the right direction? Why the curve is shifted in the right direction? Is it clear? As per law of supply, price is directly proportional to supply, right? So at price is Px and supply is Sn, right? At price Px, supply is Sn, right? Now at the same price, supply is going to increase. Okay, on the same price, supply is going to increase. So if on the same price supply is going to increase, then supply curve will move in right direction or left direction. If you are saying it is going to move in the left direction, right? If you are going to say it is move in the left direction, then what will happen? This is the new supply curve, and you can see that if the curve is shifting in the left direction, supply is not actually increasing. At this point, supply is Sm. So Sm is less than Sn, na? So if the curve of supply is going to shift in the left direction, okay, so supply is going to decrease. Whereas if we will shift the curve, in the right direction, now you can see that so there are three supply curve here, right? S1, S3 and S2. So supply S2, you can see the price is same, Px. Now here the supply is decreased, here the supply is increased. And this is the original point. So whenever you will increase the supply curve will shift in the right direction. Whenever you are going to decrease the supply curve will shift in the left direction. Is this point is clear? So I hope you got the understanding of supply curve shifting, right? Supply curve shifting. Is it clear now? Okay. If it is clear, then go back to what? Then go back to the this original curve. And our situation was earlier $1 was at 75 rupees. Now it is 78 rupees, but we want to back it at 75 without any change in the demand. Right? We know that demand is increased from D1, DI1 to DI2. Demand is increased, that's why the price was increased. But we do not want to change the demand, but we want to change in the supply. So we have increased the supply. So when we have increased the supply, what happened? See, this is the supply SI2 curve. SI2 curve is showing that what? There is a one is the supply curve S. Now supply is what? Supply is increased to SI2, right? So SI2 supply is increased. Now you can see that the earlier price was here. Now it shifted to this point, which is near to equilibrium price. So from 78, again it went back to somewhere around 75.85. 75.85. If we are going to further increase the supply, then it is going to be again remain 75. Okay. Now what we understood from here, $1 was 75, but it is increased to what? 78. And if we want that same price again, either we have to decrease the demand or increase the supply. Decrease the demand of dollar or increase the supply of dollar, right? So RBI have to intervene in the market, number one, or just hope that our exports are going to increase. So if exports are going to increase, right, our exports are going to increase, we are going to get more amount of dollar in our country. So when we get more amount of dollar, the supply of dollar in Indian market is going to increase. So supply of dollar is going to increase with the exports, right? So if the exports are rising, then definitely supply is going to increase and RBI need not to intervene in the market. But suppose that supply is not increasing, then RBI have to intervene. And how RBI is going to intervene? RBI is going to intervene by the announcement that we are going to sell the US dollar from our reserve. So suppose that India have the reserve of $650 billion, RBI will announce that we are going to sell $50 million, right? And we will purchase the rupee and will sell the dollar. So it is going to purchase the Indian rupee and sell the US dollar, right? So those who need dollar and the dollar price is suppose that 78 and RBI is ready to sell. RBI is ready to sell that dollar at initially at 77. Market price is how much? 78. RBI initially offered 77. So all those people who are purchasing the dollar from international market, they will start purchasing that dollar from central bank, that is RBI. So the market demand which was higher, it is going to decrease. It similarly, suppose that the price of onion is increased in the market up to 80 rupees. Market price of onion shoot up with the 80 rupees and government starts selling the same onion at the price of 50 rupees. So automatically that demand which shoot up to 80 rupees, government is selling the same onion at the price of 50 rupees. It is going to help to pull down the demand little bit, right? So the price will be stabilized to 50. So sometimes RBI do this intervention if the supply is automatically not going to increase. So in this case, we went to supply from S to SI2. That can be happen either by the RBI. Either RBI will intervene and increase the supply, or through market force, means automatically supply is going to increase because of increased export or increase in the investments in India, right? So in that way you can increase the supply, right? Yes, Chetan, the same thing you have shared with me. So in this, please, 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 do not draw any inferences right now. Please do not draw any inferences right now. Still, few things are going to be explained by me. Only then the entire picture will be clear. Then go for the assumptions. Don't go for assumptions. Jyoti, hold on. Don't go for any assumptions. I will let you know. Right? First, understand this thing. So, supply is increased, right? So increased supply, you can see that increased supply is going to decrease the price of dollar. Earlier it was here, now it is here, right? Similarly, if in any case, if in case supply, suppose supply was increased here, na? Now suppose supply is going to what? Supply is going to decrease to SD. Please don't ask me now ki sir why the curve is shifted in the left direction. I already explained you why the supply curve will shift in the left direction if the supply is decreased, right? So supply is decreased. So if the supply is decreased, you can see that when the supply is decreased, this curve is shifted in the left direction, and the new equilibrium price, I hope you are able to see. I hope you are able to see this is the. So here which alphabet will come at this place? Which alphabet will come at this place? I have pointed each and everything here. You have to let me know at this point. I'm asking you regarding the curve S and the curve D. So curve S and curve D are intersecting at which point? O point. Okay. O point. Now tell me, The curve S, supply curve S and demand I2 curve. Demand I2 curve are intersecting at which point? B point. Very good. At B point. S and DI3. S and DI3. S and DI3. F point. Okay. SI2 curve, SI2 curve and D curve. SI2 curve and D curve. SI2 curve and D. They are intersecting at which point? Okay. D point. Okay, fine. Now tell me SI2 and DI2. SI2 curve and DI2 curve. They are intersecting at C point. Very good. Now SI2 and DI3. SI2 and DI3. Okay. E point. Okay, fine. Now let me know about this SD and D curve. SD and D curve, they are intersecting at point H. Okay, fine. Point H. Now SD and DI2. SD and DI2. Ashutosh is saying very good. A point. SD and DI3. SD and DI3. G point. Okay. Now we want to analyze with these points, we want to analyze with this curve and these points, we want to analyze the various situation in the market. I just want to know when the US dollar is going to be very costly, most expensive position, most expensive position of US dollar at which point? The most expensive position of US dollar is going to be at which alphabet? So you can see that at this point A, at this point A, the price from equilibrium price is what? PX. But if you will compare from this point, you will find that this is the price, the highest price at point A. At point A, and the lowest price, lowest price is going to be at point E. The lowest point is point E. At this point, the price of US dollar is going to what? Lowest. Now, if somebody is going to ask me what will happen, or in what scenario the price of US dollar is going to be highest, or in the very technical term we can ask in which situation, listen the question very carefully, in which situation the rupee is going to be depreciated at most, in which condition rupee is going to be depreciated most. The situation is when the demand of US dollar is increasing, but at the same time the supply of US dollar is demand is increasing. The demand of US dollar is increasing, but at the same time the supply of US dollar is decreasing. In this situation, what will happen? In this situation, the price of US dollar is going to be highest, right? And in what scenario the price of US dollar against the Indian rupee is going to be lowest? This is the situation when the demand is decreasing in the market, however, the supply of US dollar is increasing. Supply of US dollar is increasing, but at the same time, demand of US dollar is decreasing. Right? So, now what will happen? If suppose that we are going to analyze dollar and ruble. Ruble is the currency of Russia, right? Ruble is the currency of Russia, and we want to analyze what will happen if US is going to put sanctions on ruble, right? We want to analyze the situation. So if US and European countries are going to put more and more sanctions against Russia and Russian currency, ruble, that means the availability of US dollar for Russia is going to be drastically decreased. The supply is going to be decreased. That means we have to focus on SD curve. At the same time, because Russia is in a war, and war, we need few things on emergency basis. If you are not completely able to have those goods on your own, then you must have to purchase those goods from outside, right? And because of the sanctions, many things you are not able to export. So your exports are going to down, right? Your exports are going to down, and to sustain your import, in the normal condition you need a dollar, but in the war like situation, war is going to push you for more demands of the goods and services, so your demand is going to increase, but at the same time the supply of US dollar is going to be decreased. So Russia have to face situation what we are seeing at point E right now. So this is why what will happen, the Russian ruble is going to be steep dive. Steep dive, not steep, means the word should be very clear. Steep dive against the US dollar. Its value is going to be drastically decreased. Right? Now, Russia is also having one of the highest currency reserve in terms of forex reserve. Russia is also have huge currency reserve in the various manner. So if Russia want to avoid this situation, what Russia have to do? Russia have to do what? Russia have to try to supply more dollar in their market, or Russia will try to curb the imports. Right? Either Russia have to go and increase the supply, or Russia have to decrease its import. So if Russia is going to decrease its import, then what will happen? Then Russia is able to manage some gain against the US dollar, which was steep diving, but you are able to control it. At the same time, if you are able to increase the supply, then you are able to manage it in the better manner, right? So this is what central banks have to do in the various situation. What is situation in the international market? Accordingly, you have to intervene. Accordingly, you have to intervene. So generally intervention is not necessary, right? Let that happen on the market demand and supply. Now from here, listen my statement very carefully. So this is what happened in the day, different situation in the market. So I have given you the idea of all market possibilities. Of all market possibilities, I have explained here. What are the all possibilities? Demand increasing, supply decreasing, supply increasing, demand increasing. All the set of possibilities I have given you. What will happen in the foreign currency market, right? Now, when you will see that the situation is getting out of control, then RBI will intervene, or then US central bank is going to intervene, then Russian central bank is going to intervene, then European central bank is going to intervene. Generally, it is going to be based on demand and supply. But when the demand and supply is going to create a problem, then central bank's intervention is desirable, right? So we will call it as what? Demand and supply model, right? But you want a particular value deliberately. Deliberately, you want a particular price. For example, the price is $1 is equal to 78 rupees, and we want it to 76. RBI and Government of India is trying to make it 76. At the market price, it is 78 and it is fluctuating, sometimes 75 to 80. In the market like situation, right now price is 78, but it is fluctuating between 75 to 80. This is the fluctuation in the price of US dollar in the market. But what Government of India and RBI want, the normal price should not be 78, the normal price should be 76, and there is plus minus value of 4. So rather than 78, we want to fix at 76. Plus minus means the fluctuation of 72 to 78. Plus minus fluctuation of 4. So price is 78, but we want to make it 76. So now you started manipulating. You started manipulation in the demand and supply, because we know that if we will manipulate the demand and supply, then we are able to increase or decrease the value of your currency with respect to other currency. I just explained you. See how the demand and supply is fluctuating. Now we want to control this fluctuation in such a manner it should be somewhere around 76, and fluctuation of 4 is okay for us. But we don't want this price. We want this price. So when you deliberately want to change the price, right? We will call it as a manipulation. You are doing the manipulation. Earlier, you was not doing the manipulation. Because it is dependent upon the market force, and you are just intervening so that it cannot go out of control. So one is what? One is there is a person, you are driving a car, right? You are driving a car and the person is sitting beside you, and he is just overseeing your driving, and he do not, you are on highway, right? You are on highway, and he just want to maintain कि you should be in the speed of 40 to 80, somewhere around 60 you should maintain, not below 40 or not more than 80. So when you are going to what, when you are going to cross that threshold of 80, he is going to intervene. When you are going to cross the threshold of 40, below the threshold of 40, he is going to intervene. So it is not manipulation, it is not manipulation. When we call it as a manipulation, we will call it as a manipulation when he want to set the speed 50. He want to set the speed 50, and he is doing each and every effort so that it will be 50 only, right? 50 only. And from 50 some changes like 20 plus minus is allowed, but he want you should drive at 50. Some changes can be allowed, but he is manipulating. You should not go in this bracket of what? You are in this bracket 40 kilometer per hour and maximum, and in between somewhere around you are managing the average of 60. But now he want you should be only on 50, right? So this is what I called a manipulation. I want this price, I don't want this price, just I understand ki okay, it will be around 60 plus minus 20. So I'm not going to do anything until unless you are going to below 40 or you are going to above 40. I'm not going to touch it. I'm going to allow you, you can do whatever you want. But when I'll say that ki no, it should be 50. And with the 50 plus minus 20 is allowed, then we will call it as a what? Manipulation. You are doing the manipulation in your currency. See, international markets say this is not right. But if international market also know that, but international market also know that it is going to benefit you. Those people who are the Chaudhary of international market, they know that it is going. Chaudhary means what? The people who are moral policing, right? In the society have a moral policing. At the international level we have a moral police like US, Europe. They are moral policing people, right? So please try to understand, morality is a relative term, number one, right? And at international level, those people who are setting these rules and regulations, this is manipulation or what? They are setting the rules according to what is more beneficial for them. So if I am setting the rule, so my objection, my rule setting is going to be what? I should be benefited always. So I am putting myself always in the beneficial position. Then I am setting the rules of international engagement. So what things you are seeing right now, IMF, World Bank, each and everything, right? Those countries who are crying कि Russia is invading Ukraine, right? These are the countries who invaded Afghanistan. These are the people who have invaded what? Iraq, right? So for their benefit, they can do anything, right? They can do anything in the name of terrorism. They when they invaded Iraq again, they invaded Iraq in 1991. Then again they have invaded the Iraq, and they said that Iraq have what? Nuclear and biological weapon, right? And they attacked on the Iraq. Fine. But till then date, they have not found any WMD, weapons of mass destruction. They didn't find any WMD, and they destroyed the country entirely. And they are talking about the morality today. So, and we are listening them. We are listening them. They are talking about the morality, and we are listening them. They completely devastated the state country of Afghanistan without paying any amount of money, without establishing any democracy. They just came to Afghanistan to test their weapons and to sell in the international market. You know why most of the countries right now have a close eye on Russian and Ukrainian war? Because many countries are interested to know which weapon is performing better. India has recently purchased the S-400. So India want to know how the S-400 is going to perform, how this particular helicopter is going to perform. So most of the countries are interested in this thing. So please try to understand. We have to learn and understand the principles of economics, politics, each and everything. But these principles are not truth. These principles are being set for their own benefit. And the ultimate knowledge is what? First, learn it, then manipulate it for your own benefit. Right? So don't worry about कि it is legal or something like that. They are calling it as a illegal because their interest is getting hurt. They will call it as a legal when it is going to be what in their benefit, right? So don't worry about that. Regarding the US situation, I will explain. Fine. So in this way, we can manipulate, right? So the value of currency increases, decreases, increases and decreases, increases due to market force, due to market force. If it is increasing, if it is increasing, the value of the currency is increasing due to market force, that is appreciation of currency. If it is decreasing, depreciation. Just give me a second. Just give me a second. Huh? Okay, sorry for this disruption. So if the price is increasing with the market force, price is increasing with the market force, we called it as the appreciation of currency. And if the price is decreasing, we will call it as a depreciation of the currency. Whereas if the value of currency is increasing, increasing through manipulations. If it is decreasing through the manipulation, we will call it as a devaluation. And if it is increasing, we will call it as a revaluation. And just for your information, India has devaluated its currency three times. One is just let me check. Otherwise, the wrong fact is not. 1949, 1966, and then 1991. These are the three instances when you have deliberately decreased the value of your currency. जानबूझ के, through deliberation. Deliberately, you have decreased the value of your currency. And in 1991, it was done in two phases. So sometimes in some books it is mentioned four times. Actually, it is three times, and even this case was went to the High Court of Madras High Court, and RB was means High Court asked RBI to explain this thing. Is it three times or the four times? So RBI explained that first it was done in 1949, then it was done in 1966, then it was done in 1991 in two phases. In two phases. That's why it is seems at three times. Right? Just give me a second. I'll share the article with you also. So this was the case in which it was clarified by the Reserve Bank. It was three times. Now, okay, I will take some of your questions. Okay, supply low, demand high. Nikki, but manipulations is restricted in the international market. Shashwat is saying that USA gives the status of currency manipulator to different countries on this basis only. Yes, Shashwat, currency manipulator. Nikki, what you want to ask with the revaluation? Acha, you just said that. Pakistan is interested in who will give them repair work after destruction. Last year, RBI purchased the dollar for the increased exports. Yes, yes. This is the reason why they have purchased the dollar. Right. See, that was not revaluation. When RBI has purchased the dollar, that is not revaluation. RBI has purchased the dollar to maintain the equilibrium. So, maintaining the equilibrium and trying to fix the equilibrium. There are two things: maintaining the equilibrium and try to manipulate or fix the equilibrium. I want this should be the equilibrium, right? This is manipulation. I just want to fix the equilibrium which is shifting here and there, right? So this is the other kind of equilibrium. Okay. What is devaluation, Suresh? Devaluation is when you are manipulating and you're trying to decrease the value of your currency. Suppose currency's value $1 was earlier how much? 75, and through manipulations you have put it at the 78 rupees. This is called what? Devaluation, when it is done deliberately. Deliberately you are doing. See, you are doing something manipulation. Now please try to understand the broader thing. The broader thing is, suppose that there is a manipulation, right? Suppose that there is a manipulation, and that manipulation is going to help. That manipulation is going to help. For example, Chinese has did this devaluation multiple times, right? And even they are doing manipulations, they have decreased the value of their currency with respect to US dollar and other currencies deliberately they are doing, and still they are saying that this is just a depreciation. They are saying that this is just a depreciation, not devaluation. Despite knowing all these things, nobody is saying anything. Why? I'll tell you the one example. Suppose USA want to establish power plant. Okay. USA want to establish a power plant in their country. And for that, we need turbines. Same turbine is supplied by a US company known as GE. They are charging, the cost of turbine is $1 billion, right? They are charging $1 billion. Same turbine, if you are going to purchase it from the Chinese company, they are offering at 700 million. Why 700 million? Because Chinese deliberately decrease the value of their currency, right? So that means you have to pay less amount of US dollar to them in order to purchase turbine from them. So that's why you have to pay only $700 million. Okay, you have to pay $700 million to them, right? You have to pay $700 million to them in order to purchase this turbine. Why this is happening? Why you have to pay only $700 million? Because they artificially, deliberately, they have decreased the value of their currency, right? Their currency with respect to US dollar. What is the reason? They know that US company is offering at $1 billion and we can offer it at $700 million, right? So definitely USA is going to purchase this turbine from whom? If they are going to purchase from GE, right? Then cost of electricity per unit. The cost of electricity per unit is going to be higher. If the turbine is going to be purchased from whom? The cost of electricity per unit is going to decrease. Right. Now you have to take a call. You have to take a call whether you want to purchase it from the GE or you want to purchase it from the China. If you will purchase it from the GE, that means it is going to be very problematic for you, because if the cost of electricity per unit is going to increase, Then household, industries, industries, their cost is going to increase, and household have to pay more money. Household have to pay more money for their requirements, right? So this is why you have to purchase it from the China. So you know that कि China is creating a problem, right? Because of the China, we are not purchasing from our own company. We are purchasing from where? China, right? We are purchasing from the China, but at the same time, it is also beneficial for your people and your industry. But it is not helpful for GE, right? Now GE have two options. GE either try to decrease the price, or they also have to go country like even China or India or somewhere where the production cost is little bit lower. So they are not willingly coming for the investment, right? Don't think they are coming willingly for the investments. The reason is profit and to make your exports more competitive. So that's why you are going to those countries where the business situation, taxes, labor cost are little bit lower, right? And you can benefit it. So this is why all these manipulations happen. So you know that ki they are deliberately Chinese, what the Chinese are doing with yuan. With yuan, they are doing this devaluation. They are doing the devaluation. Now, despite knowing that ki this is the devaluation, you are shutting your eyes and you just called it as ki, oh, maybe it's a depreciation, right? That may be a depreciation. And see how the situation is very complex. I hope you understood this till then now. Now see, further situation. So China got 700 million. China got 700 million, and that he have put in its forex. Okay, this 700 million dollar they have put in the forex, foreign currency reserve, and from foreign currency reserve they put in the foreign currency reserve. At the same time, US Federal Reserve, they issued US Treasury bond. What is US Treasury bond? Like in India, we have government bond. Means government want to borrow money, and for that government has issued a paper, and we use the term treasury for the government, right? So the treasury bonds were issued by the US government because US government needs 700 million dollar, right? US government needs 700 million dollar, and for that US government is ready to pay 3% interest rate for 10 years, right? 3% interest rate. And remember, this 3% is in US dollar, not in rupee. So 3% is good interest rate. So 3% interest rate they are offering. So US Federal Reserve have put this paper in the international market. Ki anyone who is interested to purchase this paper, we are ready to sell it. So China from Forex, they immediately purchase this paper, and their Forex is now not in cash of 700 million. Now it is of 700 million US Treasury bond, right? US Treasury bond. So earlier, when they received $700 million for the selling of this turbine, they put in their foreign currency reserve that was in cash. But immediately they put that money where? They put that money by purchasing US Treasury bond. So now, if there will be any manipulation by US, if US is going to say that ki no, 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 you people are manipulating, you people are manipulating in your currency, it is also going to hurt whom? The Americans, right? It is also going to hurt the Americans also. So situation is so much twisted. Situation is so much twisted, right? And this twist, when it is going to at boiling point, when this twist between US and China is going to be at boiling point, right? Then what? Then each and every country, boiling point means what? Sometimes what happened, we want to, we are in argument with some person, right? We are in argument with some person and we are trying to make him understand. Please try to understand, please try to understand, please try to understand. But at a point of time, why you are doing so? Because you don't want to escalate, you don't want to escalate with that person. You know that key finally I am going to be get more hurt, right? If I will escalate, you know that you are in a what argument with some person, and you know that if I will escalate, I am going to be get more hurt, right? So that's why you don't want to escalate. But at a point of time, you will think that it is not working. Let hurt each and everyone means I will be hurt, he will be hurt, maybe I will be hurt more, but definitely he is also going to hurt. So I'm not bothered about this thing ki I'm going to be hurt more. My objective is to hurt him or her, right? So in that situation, when you are ready to absorb whatever the consequences will be there, this is called war. This is called war, which is happening between Russians and Ukrainians right now. Both sides are losing. Both sides are losing, but one side know that ki, okay, whatever the sanctions or whatever you are going to put it there, I have a certain objective and I am going to fulfill that objective at any cost. What will happen? I am ready to bear it. So similarly, this situation of currency war came in the picture when Donald Uncle was president. Donald Uncle was president. Donald Trump was president. Donald Trump is a what? Industrialist, right? And he created a kind of what? Ki, I want America on top, right? I want America on top. So that's why the factories should be in America, the production should be in America, everything should be in America. So if Donald is going to be the president, he is not going to purchase it from the Chinese company. He will say that it is going to lose the job. For what? American people, because job is going to be shifted from US to China. So it is very important GE should be in US, so that production should be at US only. Maybe we have to pay how much? 1 billion. We have to pay how much? We have to pay $1 billion. It's fine. But we want what? Job should be in the United States of America. Right. So this is how he has created a mass sentiment before he's getting elected. This is the kind of sentiment he has created. Right. So people understood this situation ki okay, he is a president who want to bring more and more jobs back to America. But the point is, if you are going to purchase it from the GE, later on you are going to suffer this. So when he became the president, he started doing all these things, and the common Americans start suffering. And they are now upping the arms against the Donald Trump. One thing. And who is get benefited? GE. GE got benefited because GE is able to sell their product. from America even at the high price. So the policies of Donald Trump, what he opted, the America First policy, it has helped American business community a lot, whereas common American has suffered, right? So the kind of the America First policy was created by Donald Trump. At a point, it was like currency war like situation. It was almost like currency war like situation. Fine. So in that way, sometimes these things will happen. The escalation is going to be too much. Fine. नहीं नहीं नहीं, हम तो डूबेंगे, तुम्हें भी ले डूबेंगे, नहीं हम तो डूबेंगे, सबको ले डूबेंगे. America is in kind of position, if he is going to what? Americans need, means Americans is very simple. Even it's not America, it's for everyone, right? Even in your country, the rich people are always trying to put themselves. When the COVID was there, people are dying with the second wave. What was happening with this? All those Bollywood people, they are moving to Maldives, right? They went to other places, the safest places, right? And they are uploading their pictures, and other Indians are appreciating, right? So this happen everywhere. So right now, if you will see India, if you will see India like this, the amount of this kind of the people is this, and rest of the people are like what? Rest of the people are suffering, and rich are like this position. Whereas if you will see the America, the rich people are like this. So whatever they say, they feel that key right. It's right. Okay. So I hope you got the basic understanding how these things exactly work, these manipulations, and how the price of currency increases and decreases, all these things. I hope it is clear. Nominal exchange rate and real exchange rate. Right. So suppose that $1 is equal to 78 or 80 rupees. $1 is equal to 80 rupees. Okay. So how we can define the nominal exchange rate and real exchange rate, right? So in India, rate of inflation is 6%, right? Whereas in the US, inflationary rate are 2%. So when you went to exchange rate without including inflation, it is real exchange rate. Real exchange rate, whereas exchange rate with inflation, it is nominal exchange rate, right? So 80 rupees, okay, 80 rupees is equal to $1. So if we decrease 6% from here, if we decrease 6% from here, then how much it will be? Calculate करके बताओ. Let me know. If we decrease 6% from 80 rupees, how much will be the rest of the amount? $75.20. Acha. $1 if we will remove 2%, it is 0.98. 0.98. 0.98 $0.98 is equal to 75.20 rupees. Then $1 is equal to, if $0.98 is equal to 75 rupees, please let me know what will be the value of $1. What will be the value of $1? Vishwas is saying that 76.73. विश्वास के ऊपर मैं विश्वास कर लेता हूं और मैं वैल्यू लिख देता हूं 76 रुपीज। आई होप विश्वास, मेरा विश्वास नहीं टूटेगा। 76 रुपीज 73 पैसे। विश्वास के ऊपर जो मैंने विश्वास दिखाया था वो विश्वास एकदम सही विश्वास निकला। 75.20 भावना 75.20 75.20 I think is the 6% of 80 rupees, right? This is real exchange rate and this is $1 is equal to 80 rupees is a nominal exchange rate. Clear? What is nominal exchange rate and real exchange rate? Is it clear? Nominal exchange rate, okay. Acha. Suppose that another case. Suppose that Indian firm want to import iPhone from US, right? iPhone from US, right? Not from China, from built in China, assembled in USA, right? So they want to purchase it from USA, right? Suppose that 100 unit you want to import at present. $1 is equal to 80 rupees, right? 100 unit you want to purchase. Right now, $1 is equal to 80 rupees. And one iPhone 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 तक कोई भी हम राउंड फिगर में ऐसे ले लेते हैं, कितना होगा यार फिर भी? डॉलर में चलो हम ऐसे मान लेते हैं, मीन्स वी आर गोइंग टू कंसिडर इट्स ईच आईफोन कॉस्टिंग अराउंड $400. ठीक है, $400 मान लेते हैं. अरे इतने सस्ते में तुम किडनी बेचोगे आईफोन के लिए? निकी, व्हाट शुड आई रिपीट? चलो इसको $400 लोगों को कम लग रहा है तो इसको कर लेते हैं $800. ठीक है, $800 कर लेते हैं. ईच आईफोन इज प्राइसिंग $800, राइट? एंड $1 इक्वल टू हाउ मच? $1 is equal to 80 rupees. Suppose on 14th March. 14th March, the price is what? Price is 80. So this Indian firm want to purchase the iPhone from US 100 unit, and each unit is costing how much? Each unit is costing 800. So total he have to pay how much? $80,000. $80,000 he have to pay, right? $80,000 he have to pay. Okay, just give me a minute. I'll explain. $80,000 he have to pay in order to purchase this iPhone at the price of $1 is equal to 80 rupees, right? But all of sudden, this person got some intuition or market situation. He found that he know that actually on 14th it is 80, but on 12th of March it was actually 82. On 12th of March the price of $1 was 82, but it is decreased to 80 on 14th of March, right? So he thought that it is going to be further decrease, right? So further decrease. So he said that I will purchase. He told the US firm, I will purchase on 20th of March. I will purchase this item on 20th of March, and he is expecting that by 20th of March price will be 75 rupees per dollar. So if he will purchase right now, he have to pay $80. That is going to be how much? 64 lakhs. He have to pay 64 lakh, but he is expecting that by 20th of March price will be 75 rupees, right? He is expecting the price will be 75 rupees, right? So that's why he is saying that I will purchase 100 unit by the 20th of March, rather than how much? Rather than today when the price is 80, right? So sometimes what happened, this situation developed. He want to purchase when the price is going to be lower, and he want to sell when the price is going to be how much? Higher, so that he can fetch more and more money. So when we are in this kind of the situation, he want to sell right now. He want to sell right now because he know that if he is going to sell, he is going to sell on 20th of March, maybe I am going to get only 75, right? I will get only 75. So What Indian firm is trying? Indian firm is trying to forward. Indian firm is trying to forward this purchase, forward this purchase to 20th of March when the price will be 75. He is having speculation. He is just imagining and he feel that ki, okay, by 20th of March the price will be 75. So that's why he want to put forward this agreement. He is just requesting or he's negotiating with the US counterpart and he's saying that keep make an agreement. We will purchase in on 20th of March. Whereas this American counterpart he is saying that no, spot, on the spot पे आज ही करना है today. So he is saying that spot and he is saying that forward. So he is looking for what? Forward exchange. And he is looking for what? Spot exchange. So I hope you got the understanding what is spot exchange and what is forward exchange. Spot exchange means what? Whatever the exchange rate is today, we are ready to take it, right? And we will do the transaction with the exchange rate which is today. Transaction will happen later, but we are going to do the transaction on the basis of today's price, that is spot price. If we have an agreement ki okay, so finally he was insisting for spot price, but later on this American fellow he said that ki okay, fine, I do agree with you, I will sell this 100 unit iPhone on 20th of March price. Whatever the price will be on that day, that is, I'm going to do what? I am going to do the transaction. So, our Indian buy is feeling that ki, okay, we will do it by 20th of March because there is a trend of decreasing of what? Decreasing of a currency. Right. So, he is expecting ki I am going to save good amount of money. Right. At least 4 lakhs. At least 4 lakhs I am going to save when the price will be what? Price will be 75 rupees. But what happened on 20th of March? The price is increased to what? Price is increased to 85 rupees. He was expecting on the forward there is a price how much? 75, but price went to how much? 85. One situation. Another situation, he was expecting the price is 75 and he also agreed for 75, but now price is actually 65. So in this situation, he is going to suffer. He is going to suffer. Okay. And in this situation, he is going to suffer. So there in the forward market, there is a kind of possibility. Either you can go for the spot pricing, whatever the price on the spot, take it or leave it. When you go for forward exchange means on the particular date, whatever the exchange rate will be there, we will have to settle our deal. So we have signed on it, okay, on the 20th of March, we are going to either accept 85, whatever the price will be there. But if you are going for the forward exchange, right, then there is a possibility of risk fluctuations. So in order to decimate fluctuation, we agreed plus minus 4. So whatever the price will be there, if it is in the higher side, what we expecting 75. What we are expecting 75. If the price is up here from 75, we will do it minus 4. And if the price is going to, oh, sorry. It is not visible. Okay, so first what I explained you, that is what first I explained you, this is spot. If we are not agree with the spot, we will go for forward. But in the forward market, risk of fluctuations. There is a risk of fluctuations. So to avoid the risk of fluctuation, we will do what? Hedging. Hedging means what? Whatever the price means, when you will go to the garden, sometimes you can see that in the gardens during the maintenance, they try to hedge it, right? The uneven of the plants are being there. They just want to cut and give the proper shape, right? So this is called hedging. Wherever it is short, we are going to fix it properly, short or so. Basically, what we will do this thing, hedging. Hedging means it should not be unnecessary loss for one person on and a profit for another person. So avoid this high risk, we will do this thing, the kind of known as hedging. Is it clear? Hedging, what is hedging actually and how it's work? Hedging spot forward, is it clear? Okay. So one student was asking regarding the real and nominal exchange rate. So suppose that $1 is equal to 80 rupees. So generally what we see the price in the market, that is nominal exchange rate. Nominal exchange rate, because in the nominal exchange rate or inflation in the country is already included, but if we want to see the real price, we have to exclude the inflation. So in India, inflationary rate was 2%, where 6%, whereas in the US inflationary rate was 4%. So we have excluded the rate of inflation from this exchange rate, and we will find that this exchange rate $1 is equal to what? 76.73. Whereas when the inflation is included, it is $1 is equal to 80 rupees. So what you generally do see in the market, the exchange rates, these are the exchange rates. They are what? They are the exchange rate or nominal exchange rate, not real exchange rate. Real exchange rate depends upon what? Real exchange rate also come only when you exclude the rate of inflation. Acha, hedging. Okay, fine. Hedging means what? When we go to the forward market. When we go to the forward market, we have, for example, the example which you have given, we have decided we will go for 20th of March. 20th of March, $1 is equal to whatever the price, we will call it as a forward and we will do this deal on 20th of March. So $1 is equal to $1 maybe earlier it was what? Today, 14th March, $1 is equal to, suppose that, 80. On 12th March, it was 82. So Indian firm is expecting that by 20th of March, price will be further decreased to 75. Right? That is why he want the deal to be done on 20th of March. Similarly, US counterpart who also agreed for the forward, he is expecting that by 20th of March it is not going to be 75, it is going to be 82. It is going to be 82. So both agreed with their speculation. Indian firm is speculating the price is going to be 75 and the US firm is speculating it will be 82. Right? So both agreed on 20th of March. But if suppose that on this date $1 is going to be 70. Indian firm was expecting the price how much? 75. But the price is what? The price is Indian firm was expecting 75, but price went down further to 70. Right? If it is 70, whereas what American was speculating 82 but went to 70. So that means there is a huge loss for American seller. Right? Another case, what Indian was expecting 75, what American was expecting 82. So what happened on the 20th of March? The price went to 85. What American was expecting 82, but price went to 85. That means there is a huge benefit for him, whereas there is a huge loss for whom? There is a huge loss for Indian businessman because he was expecting price 75. Price is going to be down from 18 to 75. He is expecting this, right? But price went for 85. Whereas if American counterpart, he was expecting price 82, but price went to 70. So if price is going to fluctuate 70 to 85, one person, if price will be 70, Indian businessman is going to be great benefited at the great cost of American businessman, right? Whereas if the price on 20th of March is going to be 85, there will be the big benefit for the American counterpart at the cost of Indian businessman. So they both sat down and they decided that we should hedge the risk. Hedge the risk. How to hedge the risk? They decided that okay, on 20th of March, right? On the 20th of March, if price is above 78, if price is above 78 or price is below 78, if it is above 78 minus 3 we are going to agree, right? Minus 3 we are going to agree, above 78. If price is below 78, then we will add plus 3. So suppose that on this date, on 20th of March, $1 is 80 rupees. So the hedge the risk was plus minus 3. Price is how much? Price is 80 rupees. So hedging of minus 3 rupees will be done and the deal is going to be done at rupees 77. Because hedging of minus 3 is going to be done, the price is more than 78 rupees. So we did the hedging of 3 rupees. Suppose that if on that day 20th of March $1 is equal to how much? $1 is going to be 74. So plus hedging of 3 will be there and 77 will be the price. Right. सो बोथ पार्टीज एग्रीड दैट कि यार ना तो तुम्हारा ज्यादा नुकसान हो, ना तो मेरा ज्यादा नुकसान हो, ना तो तुम्हारा एक्स्ट्रॉर्डनरी फायदा हो, ना तो मेरा एक्स्ट्रॉर्डनरी फायदा हो, बिकॉज वट एवर द एक्स्ट्रा प्रॉफिट फॉर यू इज गोइंग टू बी एन एक्स्ट्रा लॉस फॉर मी, right? And your extra means extra profit for me is extra loss for you. So we have to do the business, so that's why we must have to go for hedging in the process of mitigating the unnecessary risk. So this is what we called hedging. Clear? अभी clear है hedging? What is hedging? Yes, there is no. See, I have given you the example, right? I have just given you the example to make you understand. Okay, to just make you understand. Even if the price is suppose that 78.40, $1 is going to be 78.40 rupee, and it is going to what? It is going to 78.90. And if the deal is of $700 million, then just imagine ki how much is going to change the equation, right? So just for your understanding, I have given you this example, right? But both spot and forward are relevant in their respective domain, right? Some, and while doing the business, right? So one approach of business is then approach of what? An approach of I just want to do the business once, right? I just want to do the business once, and I want to fetch maximum profit from him, right? One approach is let him also develop, and my business is also going to develop. So if his business is going to rise, then definitely my business is also going to rise, right? So we want to go for such a business and business transaction with those people, so that they are not going to be in a kind of situation from where they are not going to able to do business further. We do not want to put the person in such a situation. Why? Because it's going to be loss for us in the longer run, right? So that is why we must have, why companies sometimes they withdraw their cars, or they change the parts even after 1 or 2 years also. They take back their cars and they do the replacement free of cost. Why? They know that na ki actually the car is a kind of good which is going to be remain at least 10 to 15 years with the person in general, and it is going to be what? High negative marketing for our company in the longer run. So if you will see a company like Honda, Tata Motors, or any big company, for them just recalling 300 units or 500 units, it's not a big deal. They can easily ignore it. They can easily ignore it because they are global level firms, right? They can easily ignore it, but they don't ignore it because they know that even such kind of the negative marketing is going to have a bad impact, right? So this is why when it is written made in Germany and made in China, people will go for made in Germany because they know that the product is what? Product is kind of having such kind of the reliability. So in the businesses, reliability also one of the big thing, right? In the business transactions, reliability with whom you are doing the transactions, it's very important. So we do not want to go for one time profit or one time loss. So that's why whatever the mutually beneficial for both of us, Then we will go for what? Either spot or forward. In economics, we will call it as a theory of comparative advantage. Theory of comparative advantage is a key here. अभी क्लियर है जो, तो इससे बेटर तो था स्पॉट एक्सचेंज कर लेते. आई होप इट इज क्लियर राइट नाउ. Okay, then time up. It's you people even do not tell me the time. It's 10, around 10:45. Okay, just few things left. I will explain it tomorrow. Then I'll start a new topic. Okay. Okay then. Bye bye. Good night. See you tomorrow.